Good evening, everyone. I'm Needu, a student of MPA department. I'll be host for this evening, and I warmly welcome you all, students, faculty, and alumni, to this wonderful session we are going to have today. Today marks the beginning of our third pre-placement drive till date. We at the CET BBC Club began our journey of student empowerment with the pre-placement drive of 2020 and the with the force of stellar reviews given by many of you and your seniors is what makes us driven to conduct this event today. Speaking about CET BBC Club, I should have to give you guys a little intro before crossing out to the main session. The BBC stands for Be Bold and Confident. Our club, as you guys know, was initiated by CETA with student empowerment in mind. The objectives of the club is to help CETians develop a strong leadership mindset and make innovation a way of life. We have been doing this through our way of life, activity-based training session, mentorship programs, and community services. Our club was launched on 30th October 2020, and since then we have been working on lots of projects that inculcate confidence and skills in project. Some of our initiatives, sessions of the confident building, spark sessions with our super seniors who took different successful career paths to help the students to have a clarity about career development. We also had a session of career guidance for the class 10 students of Government THS Srigaryam. You can know more about our club through BBC app. The link is given in our chat box. Please do check it out. So, coming back to our main event, CrackIt 2022. Basically, we aim to help you guys to face the tests of placements by giving you classes and mock sessions with industrial experts and trainers so that you can learn more about do's and don'ts and hone your skills to ace your placement with ease. The first step in preparing yourself for the placement process is to get yourself ready with a good portfolio. That is a nice professional CV. And we have the right person here with us to guide you. He is our alumni, a 1985 mechanical engineer pass out. He is also an MBA graduate and a lawyer, a human rights advocate, and a motivational speaker. He has over 30 years of experience in executive training, recruiting, and staffing. He is the founder and CEO of CG Institute of Hardware Training. And most important thing, he is an invaluable part of our BBC, who makes time in his busy schedule for guiding us through all our activities. Without further ado, I invite Murugesh Ramaya sir for an enthralling session. Sir, the die is also all about you.
Good, good evening, folks. Am I loud and clear and audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me thank Neetu for a warm introduction. I think this is my third year in doing this program. And I think we will have to see how we are going to do this program better in the coming years. So the objective of the pre-placement drive of the BBC Club is to have first a session on how to write your resume, wherein I today will cover on what should not be there in the resume. Resume endakka paadilla. Endakka resume undayirikkanam. What should not be there. Then I will also take you through what is known as some samples of resumes which are absolutely pathetic. And then we can have a session on question answer sessions where I would expect anybody and everybody to ask questions, which I would answer to the best of my ability and capability. After this session, we will have a group discussion session on group discussion, which will be taken by another alumni called Suresh, who's the CEO of All Cargo. And then we have mock GDs, and based on the mock GDs, then we would have mock interviews. The objective of this session is not to give you a pattamuli for handling writing your GD or for handling a resume or for handling interviews. Or it is just to show you a path on how. By the way, I forgot, there will be a very, very interesting session conducted about how to handle aptitude tests. Whether you take my session or Suresh's session or how to take the interviews is absolutely okay. But do not miss the 2-day session done on how to handle aptitude test by possibly one of the finest and the best person in the industry today in India. I'm not talking about the Baiju type, somebody who's a CETN and somebody who has actually made a difference to the number of people from Trivandrum, Kerala joining IIMs by a person called Krishna Kumar. Why I'm saying this is that this is writing a GD is just writing a resume is just a start. But the most important area where നമ്മുടെ പിള്ളേർക്ക് ശരിക്കും പ്രശ്നം ഉണ്ടാവുന്നതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആപ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡ് ടെസ്റ്റിലാണ്. Whoever doesn't come today or whoever is attending today, tell them it's fine by us. But please do not miss the session by Krishna Kumar on aptitude test. Without much further ado, let me start with what I am supposed to do. I'm not going to introduce myself. I had a pretty nice introduction. And when it is based on experiences and what no one should do in life. Because college പഠിക്കാനും വന്നു എന്നുള്ള ഒരു കൂട്ടത്തിലുള്ള ആൾക്കാരുണ്ടല്ലോ. അതുകൊണ്ട് so I also have seen how difficult is it to get a job after you leave the campus. Remember, when you are in campus, നമ്മൾ 300 പേരോ 400 പേരോ 500 പേരുടെ കൂടെ നമ്മൾ compete ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളൂ. But when you leave campus, ആ കൂട്ടത്തിൽ 3-4 സീറോകൾ കൂടെ കയറും. It is not 4,400 people. It will be 400,000 people against you will be conducting. So getting a job in campus is extremely important. And people might say the market has opened up. Yes, the market has opened up, which means the more choices are also available for the HR career like us. And HR comes to campus to hire. But today, with the COVID going, you will say there are more options. For the HR community, there are more options also. So whichever company comes to campus, prepare before you go for interviews. Of that, we will be talking more about that in the next couple of days as the program continues. And you might say, നിങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കുന്ന കാലത്ത് ഇങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു. ഇല്ല, ഞങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കുന്ന campus placement ഒന്നും ഇല്ല, അപ്പോഴാണ് തുടങ്ങിയത്. So the point is, don't say it is easy to preach, but let me tell you, it is smart to learn from the stupid mistakes done by your seniors. So prepare, do not miss out on any opportunity, because I've heard every time I come to campus that there has been a lot of opportunities missed. So let me share the screen and start my job as to what should be there in a resume, what should not be there in a resume, and others. I will be able to share the screen, right, Satish? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because if I am not audible, Satish, you call me or something, because internet in Bangalore is pretty sad today.
No, we have our volunteers there taking care of.
Okay. And if I get cut off, let me know. Okay. I'm sharing the screen and let's start for the day. The most important thing in anybody's career, when they reach the second year or the third year, these days in the third year, is that how do you present yourself to somebody? എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഈ റെസ്യൂമേ എന്നുള്ള സംഭവം ഉണ്ടായത്? എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് അത് റെസ്യൂം അല്ല എന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയും? റെസ്യൂമേ എന്ന് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ the most important thing is to give a photograph of yourself. നമ്മുടെ സ്ട്രെങ്ത് എന്താണ്? നമ്മളെ എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഒരു ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻ നമ്മളെ റിക്രൂട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? Why the hell should one organization look at us by reading about us in a piece of paper is the question. Typically, for when in the HR community, I've been part of the HR community, I've left it, and that's a different story. The HR community likes to see what it gets. So like a product advertising yourself, you are writing about yourself, what you are, and why a company should talk to you. So that is why I call a resume the door opener. So the biggest problem whenever we see a resume is that namak ellarkum manasilulladhu resume ennu paranja, there is a format available. we know that we will put our photo on top. Then we will write in the end of it. All I say, there's nothing but the truth, and sign it and Xerox it some 50 times and dispatch it to various people by email or by what do you say, or go stand in the queue and go give it. That is not going to take us anywhere. A resume is just a cog in the wheel which you are going to use to break open the doors of the HR department in the company and going. A resume is as important as your LinkedIn profile. A resume is as important as your hacker code or any one of those profiles. A resume is just the beginning of what you are going to do. So when e resume session, how I plan to do is that I will first tell you that what should not be there in a resume. Endaka resume area namakku pani kittu ennallathu ende experience. Njan endukondaanu resume കളൊക്കെ ഞാൻ കളഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത്. I will use that as the experience and then tell you. So some of the hard facts. So you might ask me, ഈ resume വായിക്കാനല്ലേ ഈ HRർക്കൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ശമ്പളം കൊടുത്ത് ഇരുത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത്? True. അതിനാണ് HRർക്ക് ശമ്പളം കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഈ HRകാർ ആരാണ്? MBA പഠിച്ചിട്ട്, MBA എന്തോ പഠിച്ചിട്ട് ഓർ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് പഠിച്ചിട്ട് വന്ന് HR ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിൽ കയറും. ആർക്കും വേണ്ടാത്ത പരിപാടി കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ് റെസ്യൂമെ വായിക്കുന്നത്. അവരാണ് ഇരുന്ന് റെസ്യൂമെ ഷോർട്ട് ലിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Because we are all ഇതെല്ലാം ഫ്രഷർ റെസ്യൂമെ ആണ്. ഫ്രഷർ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ 1 year എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആണ്. So one of the main reasons a resume gets rejected is bad grammar. Carrier എന്ന് എല്ലാവരും എഴുതുന്നത് CARRIER, carrier. Carrier spelling അതല്ല, CARER. നമ്മൾ ശശിധരന്റെ അത്ര ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഒന്നും വേണ്ട, or ബയോകോണിന്റെ CEO ഒരു ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഒന്നും വേണ്ട, but use the spell check and read what the spell check has done. So if you have a bad grammar and typo mistakes, that is the reason 77% of the resume. These are figures from various HR districts. Second is people have very stupid email IDs. That is another reason why people have email IDs which say that jamesbond007@gmail.com. There's a fair chance that the guy says, what the hell does he think? There are people who have given resumes saying that Barbie doll beautiful or I am whatever. Don't give me those kind of resumes. Resumes, and mind you, these days resumes are co-linked by resume parser software with your LinkedIn profile, with your with your LinkedIn profile, with your a whole host of things. It looks at it before it decides to reject. I will continue this conversation to tell you till what should not be there in a resume. Then I will take a break and then we will go into what needs to be there in a resume. Ee fresher resume nammal ezhudumba, please don't make it greater than 2 pages. But fresher 2 year experience ulla 6 page resume aanengi njan appade eduthu porthu kollu. I'll say that what is happening? What is there to write about so many things? You don't write. There are people who write all the keywords which they have learned, all the engineering subjects which they have learned. We don't need any of those things. So what we need to keep in mind when we write a resume is that let us keep a resume short and simple and to the point, and which will help people understand who this person is. ഒരു resume എന്ന് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ top half of the resume എന്ന് പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ that is the most valuable real estate of the resume. That is the most valuable real estate of the resume. എന്തുകൊണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആദ്യം നമ്മൾ ഒരു റിക്രൂട്ടറായിട്ട് ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ലാപ്ടോപ്പിൽ ഒരു റെസ്യൂമെ വരെയാണ് ആദ്യം നോക്കുന്നത് മുകളിലാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടേ താഴെ വരും. അവിടെ ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്തിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല. കാരണം ഐ എം നോട്ട് ഹയറിംഗ് ഫോർ എ മോഡൽ ഓർ എ കാസ്റ്റിംഗ് കോൾ ഫോർ the next Bahubali or RRR or Vijay's Beast. I am here to hire people for particular positions. If it's a customer service, your resume photo being there would be useful. So this is a couple of reasons why a resume gets rejected in the first place. What should not be there in a resume? ഒരിക്കലും resume കള്ളത്തരം പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ be prepared to answer for it. I mean, right now, there are people who would have done engineering after finishing their diploma. There are people who do their MBA after finishing, after working for 1-2 years and then going. Do not make any lies in the resume, because if you say that you know something, ഇപ്പം തന്നെ ഞാൻ പ്രസന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ എന്റെ സൈഡിലല്ലേ ലാപ്ടോപ്പ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. ലാപ്ടോപ്പിന്റെ അപ്പൊ എനിക്ക് ഗൂഗിൾ അടിച്ച് എന്ത് ചോദ്യം വേണമെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാം. ഗൂഗിൾ അടിച്ചിട്ട് എന്ത് ചോദ്യം വേണമെങ്കിലും I can ask any kind of this. Then do not give any kind of unnecessary information like religion, caste, sex, height, weight. ഞാൻ റെസ്യൂമിൽ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് വെയിറ്റ്. നമ്മളതൊരു സിനിമയ്ക്ക് ആളെടുക്കണം. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ am I setting Mr. Universe or Miss Universe? No. I don't need to know your caste. I don't need to know your religion. I don't need to know. I don't need to know a whole host of things. My father's name, mother's name. Give me a break, man. Why do you need to put father's name, mother's name, and things which are absolutely irrelevant? Achievements. There are people who say in 6th standard I got a prize for club level chess competition. Put achievements which are relevant, which you are proud to talk about. If you have won in the district level, in the state level, you put for it. And please be clear. Do not read the sentence. Do not make any grammatical mistakes. Do not make any grammatical mistakes in the resume. And don't use words kadicha potata English work. I am the most comprehensively capable synonyms ellam verichu ketti I ittittu. Don't make your resume look very vague. Typically, when I say broken links, നമ്മൾ എല്ലാവരും പറയും ലിങ്ക്ഡിൻ്റെ what do you say, LinkedIn, you put the LinkedIn ID and other stuff. ആ LinkedIn ID click ചെയ്യുമ്പം let it work. Or if you say ഞാൻ ഈ പേപ്പർ പ്രസന്റേഷൻ ചെയ്തു, ആ ലിങ്ക് ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ആ ലിങ്ക് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് നോക്കണം. And then don't give email ID. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞു email James Bond not 7. Have only one email ID and one phone number. 3 email ID കൊടുക്കുന്ന ആള് 2 ഫോൺ നമ്പർ ആയി കൊടുക്കുന്ന ആൾക്ക് എനിക്കല്ല എല്ലാ HR കിട്ടണം. കാരണം ആഫീസിൽ വന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ തേച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. അത്രയും ഫോണുകളല്ലേ കയ്യിലിരിക്കുന്നത്. And then do not give skills which are outdated, because CET-യിൽ വരണം. ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞ 2 കൊല്ലം കൊണ്ട് കാണാൻ, when I first see a resume, people say MS Office. Give me a break, man. 3rd standard kids, 4th standard kids do their writing in MS Office and Word and MS Office, Excel and PowerPoint, and their skills are far better. Put skills which are relevant. ഇപ്പം കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ സയൻസ് പഠിക്കുകയാണ്. കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ സയൻസ് പഠിച്ചിട്ട് I know C and C+ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ശരിക്കും അടി കൊടുക്കേണ്ടതാണ്. കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ സയൻസ് പഠിച്ചിട്ട് C and C+ അറിഞ്ഞില്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ എന്താണ് പഠിക്കുന്നത്? And then do not have any hobbies which are vague and strange. There are people who have said I put fly fishing. ഞാൻ തന്നെ ഫ്ലൈ ഫിഷിംഗ് എന്താണെന്ന് എനിക്ക് പിന്നെ അതിൽ കയറി ചെന്ന് നോക്കും. അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് 100 ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കും. പക്ഷേ be clear that let us not mess it up. You don't need to put a Facebook page or Instagram page in it, that they will themselves find it. Ideally, ആ സമയം വരുമ്പം ensure that your LinkedIn, I will cover about LinkedIn towards the last, and how important it is and what you need to do as a part of the resume, which I will ask Parvati or whoever is taking questions to remind you. Please do not put your social media photographs and your achievements of jumping down the cliff or doing whatever strange things. Please keep it very clear. And do not have elaborate formats. ഞാൻ എന്തൊക്കെ പടം വരയ്ക്കുക, ഇത് വരയ്ക്കുക. നമ്മളാരും മൾട്ടിമീഡിയക്ക് ജോലിക്ക് പോകുന്നില്ല, നമ്മളാരും വിഷ്വൽ ആർട്സിൽ ജോലിക്ക് പോകുന്നില്ല. What a resume should not be, I will cover it towards the last. And do not photocopy your resume with your signature and write at the end. All I am saying here is only the truth, and there is nothing but the truth which is there. So net and net, what should not be there in a resume if we were to cover it? Do not give fake information. When I say fake information, ചെയ്ത ട്രെയിനിങ് പ്രോഗ്രാം ഇടുക. വഴിയെ പോണ വല്ലവരും ഒക്കെ ചെയ്താലും ഞാൻ വാട്ടണിൽ ചെന്ന് ട്രെയിനിങ് പ്രോഗ്രാം ചെയ്തു, ഞാൻ എയിൽ ചെന്ന് ട്രെയിനിങ് പ്രോഗ്രാം ചെയ്തു, ഞാൻ IIM ചെന്ന് തരും. But believe me, when you put all those things, people will ask you questions. And when people will ask you questions, you don't know how to answer it. You are dead on arrival. When I mean dead on, appade ariya certain integrity illa, morals illa, idilla. Do not write resume eludumbam don't write things like I'm super confident, I'm well confident, I'm well dressed. Don't go and say unless I get the job. Don't try to play the sentimental angle in the resume. So before I go to the next part, I would want to see if I can take some questions because I've been talking non-stop for not less than 20 minutes. So either whatever I have said has gone over your head, or I can take a couple of questions, 3-4 questions before I move to what should be there in the resume. Are there any questions about what should not be there in the resume?
So Parvati, if questions are ready, you can ask to sir.
Questions can also be asked by people by unmuting themselves and
So if
putting.
anyone have any questions, please do ask.
But one condition I have: you should put your camera on when you ask the question. Go ahead. Is that a question, Albin?
Albin.
Are there any questions or? Yeah, I can't hear you. You can ask a question through Parvati also.
Yes, sir. I think we are good to go now. We'll handle all the questions later.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, okay.
So having said this, let us go and find out what should be there in a resume. Typically, you might say, sir, when I write a resume, what all should be there in a resume? This is the reason why we should do an in-person training next time. Let's see how much I'm able to explain to you what should be there in a resume. A resume can start by having your name in the beginning, just your name in the beginning, and below that you can definitely have a 1-line or a 2-line objective statement, what you want to be. If do you want to be don't say you want to be an engineer. Have a decent career objective statement. Want to specialize in microelectronics or want to design the next electric car, have something which you will be able to defend, based on which nammada baakiyulla curricular interest and co-curricular interest is there. Keep it in the reverse chronological order. Reverse chronological order എന്ന് പറയാനെങ്കിൽ keep it in a way in which you write about your engineering. When you write about your engineering, you say BTech, Mechanical, College of Engineering, Trivandrum. You don't need to write Kerala University. നമ്മൾ ഒരു പ്രൈവറ്റ് കോളേജ് ഒന്നുമല്ല, ഏതോ കുറെ ആരോ നടത്തുന്ന പ്രൈവറ്റ് കോളേജ് അല്ല, നമ്മൾ കേരള യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി ആണെന്ന് പറയാം. We are CETians. We need to be proud of the fact that we are an 80-year-old institution. So when you write CET, College of Engineering, Trivandrum, Mechanical, and put your percentage if it is good, or if it's very bad, don't put it. If it's very decent also, you can put it. Then talk about your 12th standard marks. After that, people ask me, what should I write? After that, write about if you have done your internships. When you write about your internships, write about 1 or 2 lines about your internships and what you learned in the internship. Went to KCB, saw how the dam is being built. No, don't write it that way. Went to KCB, understood the techniques which are used in water storage or dam, or went to Keltron and found out how a breadboard works, or went to Kerala Automobiles Limited, found out how a IC engine works. Put in the internship. After that, you talk about your whatever papers you have submitted. After that, you talk about the trainings what you have done. Then you talk about your co-curricular activities or extracurricular activities. After you finish extracurricular activities, you can write your contact address and an email and a mobile phone which works. That is broadly the format of your resume. A resume can extracurricular activities. We will come to that as I go along. Please do not have a long objective statement. And since you have just finished or finishing campus, ensure that you keep the resume to 1 page. Ensure that it stands out. Use fonts which are decent, Arial or New Times, or some of the fonts which are pleasing to the eye. And when I say design for skimmability, a lot of times these resumes are, some companies insist that in a resume you put your 10 standard marks also. In those cases, you put your 10 standard marks also. Ensure that you have put in enough keywords in your resume so that if if the resume is being, what do I say, scanned by a resume scanning software, it stands out and you are able to, you are able to get your resume to the next stage. So, for example, if you, a lot of these days, a lot of people have voicemails and other stuff in their phones. Ensure that you have a decent voicemail and a decent ringtone. Don't put the latest, what you may think it's the latest Habiba, or whatever that Telugu movie is. Whatever. Don't, ensure that during your process you change your resume. Keep your phone to your keep the phone and the ringtones and the email IDs decent. When I mean non-traditional work, if you have done any social service, if you have done any CSR work, bring it down, bring it up. Keep your resume relevant. Finally, you might be in the 8th semester, but your mark might be of the 6th semester. No, you should say you are in the 7th semester and in the last grade up to 6th standard. Keep your resume current. Keep your, and don't use the same word multiple times. Resume, when I say show, don't tell your soft skills. What I mean is that don't say I have great communication skills. I am well versed in 12 languages. That is for the interview. ഞങ്ങൾ അവർ ഇത്രയും പാടുപെട്ട് വണ്ടിക്കൂലി ചെലവാക്കി ഇന്റർവ്യൂ ചെയ്യാൻ വരുന്നത് നിങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ എന്താണ് ചെയ്തതെന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാനും കൂടെയാണ്. So allow us also to do our work, and then show your soft skills, that you have good communication skills. Show you have good, you are a sincere person. When the interview gets over, those things will be covered later. Ask some relevant interview questions. And above all, when you write your resume, please don't write please don't say on top this resume is for this and send it to another company. Also visit the website of the company before you go for an interview. So education. Experience first. This is primarily meant for, this also is meant for a mixed audience. That is because MBA students also attended. For MBA students, if you guys have worked after your degree in good places, put your this thing, and then ensure that your education comes next. When you talk about online or continuing education, please put, for example, for example, I don't know, I forgot in engineering. For example, in mechanical engineering, if designing electric batteries is the best online education course you have done, or if you have done a course on AI, or if you have a course on data warehousing, or natural language programming, or any one of those, and if it's a current course, and if it is a course from a premier institute, put it. You may have done some, you may have attended some 10 seminars, 1 or 2 seminars where you have put paper, you have presented papers, 1 or 2 seminars where you presented papers, you talk about it. Rest of the places you don't need to talk. Ensure that whatever you have put there fits into one page. Whenever you are talking about whenever you're talking about skills or training, when I mean skills, for example, a lot of people, there are 2 kinds of skills. One is a technical skills. That's what I'm talking about. If you're a mechanical engineer, you have undergone specialized training in latest design software or latest presentation software, whatever it is, put that. And what have you achieved out of it? You need to talk about it. If you are talking about the internship, like I told you in the beginning, you may have done more. It's not possible to do more than 2 internships. You write about 2 internships and write down what you learned in those 2 internships. Chumma broad ആയിട്ട് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ഒരു കാര്യവുമില്ല. Above all, ensure that you proofread your resume many a times. Name your file smartly. When I say name your file smartly, it is as good as you, what do I say? It is as good as keeping a good email ID or giving a good voicemail. It is also, keep a resume of, and don't say resume version 9.1. അപ്പോൾ വായിക്കണം വിചാരിക്കുന്നത് 9 version ഉണ്ട് resume. അപ്പോൾ ഓരോ കമ്പനിക്കും ഓരോ version ആണ് അയക്കുന്നത്. Find some other way if you have 2-3 more resumes. അത് ഞാൻ തെറ്റെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയൂല. But ensure that whenever you write, name your resume, name it smartly and keep it constantly updated. When I say interest, which can be controversial, there are people who have written saying that I like hunting. Imagine if the person is a wildlife animal. No, I mean, there are people who say I like dancing. You can be very sure you can be very sure that if you say you like dancing, people will ask you questions. And please be sure you know about it. For example, there are people who say, chess and interest. What do you say, the Google, the laptop is there. I will ask you, what is Vishwanathan Anand's latest move? Or how different is the opening of Vishwanathan Anand and Casa Pro? You should be sure that whatever you have written there is good. For example, Peter, what is the last book I have read? Don't say Chetan Bhagat, for God's sake. Say something which is more relevant, please. And then please read that book so that I will be able to ask questions, or if I am very clear about it, I should be able to understand what you say. And don't say things like, I also got when I say achievements, say district level or state level. There are people who say, sir, I have just been a committee member. How do I say it? Instead of saying that you are a committee member, was responsible for fund collection for this particular event called Dhwani or whatever. Fund collection. So you be clear about what you write, and please do not lie in your resume. Please do not lie in your resume. Be honest and truthful. Because something else better is coming. This is what primarily which should be there in a resume. Let me now show you some of the world's worst resumes. Some of the resumes, how a resume should not look. When you look at this resume, the person has been making spelling. Why I am not sharing Indian resumes? I do not want to make our fellow people look bad. These are some of the resumes which we have pulled out from various job sites in the world. Do not, you don't mind making jokes. Don't become a joke. Do not make spelling mistakes in the most. If you are applying for a server's job, look at the name. Yes, a server and the spelling no. SURVER. That is your designation. Engineer and spelling engineering resume, and I have dropped those resumes. Next, how a resume should not be there. Ippazhana graphic design പഠിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത് ഇപ്പോഴാണ് ആരോ ഏതോ ഒരു resume app free ആയിട്ട് ബാംഗ്ലൂരിൽ ഏതോ software company കൊണ്ടുവന്നത് അതിനെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് look at this. There are resumes which should not look like this. You don't put your photograph. Look at the name. Name and shadow. And then what does he say? My sales is growing up. Look at the second resume. Look at the font. You should never use fonts like this. Don't use breaking things like this. Look at how the fonts you should use. This is very important. Times New Roman, Helvetica, Arial Narrow, Calibri or Cambria. These are things what people look. Resume, second resume. I will throw it out of the window. In this resume, people are writing. This is for if you have less than 1 year, 10 years of experience, keep your resume to less than 1 page. I'm making it very, very clear to everybody. You just write a resume. That is all we are doing. Responsible for increase. This is more like what people say. Responsible for increasing production. Do not state the obvious what you are doing in what you have done. This is the worstest resume I've ever seen in my life. In my life, there are people who have written resumes like this. What are you applying for? And this is written by somebody who's done a graduation in computer science and mathematics. Do you think there is any relevance to this? I would think this guy had smoked a lot of stuff he shouldn't smoke, or drank a lot of things he didn't drink, and asked some graphic designer or was watching a cartoon while writing this resume. This is a live resume which people have sent out into the marketplace. Ideally, we guys should not. Hobbies and interests. Look at this person saying, I am playing with PlayStation. If you are good in, there are good gaming people. We are not going for a gaming software job or a gaming programming job. If you're going for that kind of a job, then you might put it. But if you are going to go for a non-gaming job or a non-professional or engineering job or a design job or an electrical engineering job or a civil engineering job, please don't do all these kind of stuff. Okay, this is something which all of you should watch it very, very clearly. A lot of us today use a lot of pre-formatted forms, right? When you use a lot of pre-formatted forms, what happens is that you should write here. See, in this resume, people have placed your text here, delete text and heading if you don't need. When you give a resume, read the resume a couple of times, proofread the resume, and if I see a resume, one line you have lost the job before. Itrayum paadupettu resume ayachittu na chellare vicharikkuna itrayum resume ayikkannu aarum nokkannilla ingenulla kore resume like ayachal I mean what will happen? Another thing is that this guy, he thinks that he's got schematic. He studied in Yale, Harvard, Oxford, where. And then he's trying to be very sincere. I don't drink, I don't smoke, so that the company's healthcare cost will grow up, it seems. And then this fellow is trying to be spending. References are unavailable because they were all burnt up in a fire. Don't try to be funny in your resume or in an interview. Interview is a serious thing, resume is a serious thing. So don't try to be funny. What you need to do is that you need to be careful. A resume should reflect your personality. Resume should reflect your personality. Resume cannot be somebody else. Do not copy the resume. Do not use pre-formatted resumes. Do not photocopy resumes and send it with your signature. Do not put if some companies ask for a photograph, ensure that you take a decent photograph or take a color Xerox and then send it. Do not take the same thing all over again till the paper becomes dark, and use, of course, a decent laser printer when you are sending out your resume. So ideally, what happens is that in the past, people have been people have asked us a lot of questions, and they want to know how to send a resume. If you think that you guys want feedback on the kind of resumes you want, I think the volunteers in the BBC Club will come back to you, wherein they will collect resumes and they would give feedback. And in case you guys need my email ID or phone number or anything, ask the guys in the club, so they will be able to give you, and then we will take it from there. And now I hope I will have some questions, at least now.
So thank you, sir. That was an informative session. Now we'll have a Q&A session. I would request Parvati to take over this session.
Before Parvati takes over, there's one, sorry, Parvati, remind me to have a session, a 5-minute talk on how important LinkedIn is. Go ahead. Questions.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the session. And now it's time for Q&A session. So now I'll call up the audience to ask any doubts or queries regarding the session. So yeah, feel free to unmute and ask your doubts and queries.
So Parvati, I have a doubt.
Okay, can.
Yes, thank you, Parvati. So I have done a project in IIM, and I got 3rd place in that. But unfortunately, I have just lost my certificate. But I cannot able to write this in a resume. So what should I do, sir? Since I have to show them that I have done this.
If I were you, I will say participated in the IIM program, was ranked among the top 3.
Yes, sir. It was a presentation paper and I got 3rd place in.
Yeah, you said was ranked among the top 3. Third on the brand was among the ranked the top 3. Was ranked among the top 3. Our first second, third. We are telling them we have ranked 3rd. People don't ask for participation certificates and other things unless you're applying for. Even in the government, they don't apply. These are all extracurricular activities. Just you should be able to explain that logically.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, I have received some questions regarding the session. So the first question is, should
ഞാൻ CT പഠിച്ചതാണ്. ഞാൻ അവിടെ വെള്ളം ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. CTയിലും പഠിച്ചതാണ്. എന്റെ ഡയറക്ടർ ചോദിച്ചു എന്താണ് via media. Anyway, Parvati, you ask. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So the first question is, should they hide their educational professional gap, if any, in the resume?
You don't, ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ do no lies. If there are lies, suppose if somebody has ഇതൊരു MBA സ്റ്റുഡന്റ് ആണ് ഇത് ഐഡിയലി വരുന്നത്, എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് സ്റ്റുഡന്റിന് വരൂല. If suppose it happens for an engineering student, ഞാൻ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈം ഞാൻ 12th കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് എഴുതിയപ്പോൾ കിട്ടിയില്ല, ഞാൻ കിട്ടിയില്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് I wrote again. Nobody is going to judge you just because you missed a year. But don't say things like, I was very poor, my parents didn't have money, and then you go for an interview with a Mont Blanc pen, you are dead. Be upfront and honest. There is no harm in showing a gap. Or you say, if you are doing, you did your MBA after 2 years of working. Say, I tried for civil services. I realized that it was getting difficult for me, so I couldn't. So even if you show a career gap, it is not a harm. But do not lie, please, for heaven's sake. I know the problem of lying because I've been caught once lying, and that day I decided, interview English ഞങ്ങളും പറയൂല. Next question. If I hope I've answered that question.
Oh, okay, sir. Yes.
Next question, Parvati, if any.
Sir, is it necessary to add the details regarding the college project in the CV? He or she is an experienced person.
Okay. If your college project is exceptional, for example, I've seen some. Don't say I'm favorite towards mechanical. I've seen some mechanical engineering students are having some bike, some club or whatever it is, which talks about designing bikes or automobiles or whatever it is, or which group, I don't know. Those kind of projects, if they are landmark projects, standout projects, if there is one college project you have done which is super, write about it. But whatever you write should stand out. If it's a pedestrian project, an average project, don't write about it. Even if you're experienced, it will, what does a college project indicate? A college project indicated Nobel Prize, we will. That is the kind of capable students we have. But over a period in time, a college project, we can talk about our capability or the ability to work in a team. You can prove to the other person that you are a team member. You can get a lot of brownie points for that. So tell me, how many people were in your team? 8 people in a team. How did you divide the job? Sir, we divided the job based on whatever it is. And I was handling a particular set of people to ensure that these particular things were delivered at this time. So what does it show? That you are a team player, you're willing to work with the team, and you are helping people. So you should talk about college projects if they are good, and you should bring out the goodness or the smartness of that particular project. I can take a follow-up question on that if my answer is not to the point.
Yes, sir.
I can take another question if need be on the same subject. For example, if I were to tell you, I can tell you 2 examples. If somebody's got 3 years of sales experience and they today want to, and they have done a project in finance in MBA, do I talk about, but still if you want a finance job, don't talk too much about your sales job. But if you've done a finance project and you want to get a sales job, talk about your experience. Or it can vice versa.
Okay, sir. Can we move to the next question?
Yes, go ahead.
There is a question from Ardi in the chat box. So does maximizing the use of keywords improve my chances of getting noticed?
I don't know. Intelligently use it. അമൃതം കൂടുതൽ കുടിച്ച എന്തോ വിഷമാണെന്നൊക്കെ ഞാൻ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് പണ്ടേ, എനിക്ക് അറിഞ്ഞില്ല. പക്ഷെ the point I'm trying to say is that keywords are good, but don't overuse it. If suppose, for example, let me explain to you with a computer science example. No offense, man. Natural language programming, the Stanford model is supposed to be one of the good languages. This is what people have told me. Don't ask me how I know about it. People have told me. And then you write that in your keywords, or somewhere you say proficient in NLP with specific reference to CNN and Stanford. Please be sure that you should know about the keywords, what you are putting there. ചുമ്മാ കയറി കീവേഡ് ഇട്ടിട്ട് ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് പണി വാങ്ങിക്കരുത് എന്നേ എൻ്റെ ഒരു is my thought to it. I mean, you can say that you know the latest technique in maximizing the battery power retention of in a cell. Please be sure you know about what is retention, how long is charging, or what is the cost of charging. Whatever you say as keywords or bring in as keywords, ensure that you have an idea about it. Because എനിക്ക് ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഞാൻ ഇന്റർവ്യൂർ ആണ്, എൻ്റെ ഗൂഗിൾ നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്, നിങ്ങളെയല്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് please be clear about it. I hope I've answered. Intelligently use it and use keywords which are relevant to your profession, to your stream of engineering or MBA or MCA or MTech or whatever it is. Suppose if there are MTech people there, you've done some amazing paper presentations. Talk about it more and ensure that that stands out, so that when that particular company searches for resumes in job sites or anything with people with skills in I keep forgetting it. People with, let's assume, skills in a particular data lake or whatever they are looking for, your resume comes up. So intelligently use your keywords, but be sure about the keywords what you've used. Have I answered the question? Just check with the person who asked the question.
Okay, sir. Okay, so
Go ahead. Hello.
Sir, who should I put as references on my CV?
സത്യമായിട്ടും റെഫറൻസ് ഈ CV-യിൽ ഇപ്പൊ ഇടരുത്. എല്ലാം ബേൺഡ് ഔട്ട് ആണെന്ന് പറയും പോലെ ചെയ്യരുത്. ബട്ട് റൈറ്റ് നൗ do not put unless otherwise the company asks for it. Do not put references in. ഇപ്പൊ എന്നെ റെഫറൻസ് തരികയാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കും ഇവ എന്തോന്ന് ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു മുട കൂടുതൽ കാണിക്കുന്നു, ഇന്നാൾ അറിയാം. So references can be put after you reach the interview stage. When you reach the interview stage, there are multiple forms, employment forms. Our formula reference if any. Suppose you go for an Infosys interview and say that I know Shibulal's wife, or Shibulal is I know Shibulal well, or senior VP I know. It straight away means that you're telling them that, hello, eniki pidibadundu. I will not like somebody who shows off. Ideally, do not put, end opinion, I could be wrong. I will not look good on a resume. I will not favor a resume which says that I have the following references in the resume itself. When I ask for it, give the references. Do not put references now. It takes away valuable real estate, is my opinion.
Okay, sir. So the next question is, when we have experience, is it acceptable to write the client name who we worked?
Okay, is the IT car non-IT car. Ideally, if you normally ജോലിക്ക് വരുമ്പം ഞങ്ങളെ പോലെ വക്കീലന്മാർ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്ന പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫൈൻ പ്രിന്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ എഴുതി കയറ്റി കൊടുത്താണ്, നോൺ കമ്പീറ്റ്. I will not use the client name, I will not use that, I will not do that. നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരെയും കൊണ്ട് ഒപ്പിടി. നമ്മൾ ആരും വായിക്കാറില്ല. ആരെങ്കിലും വായിക്കാറുണ്ടോ ഫൈൻ പ്രിന്റ്? എല്ലാ യെസ് എന്ന് ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്ത് പോകും. അതുപോലെ നമ്മൾ ഒപ്പിട്ട് കാണും. So ideally, if you have worked on a sensitive client, do not put the client name in IT business. And if you want to put it, you say, I worked with the top, with one of the world's top 5 banks. Interview choichadu edu bank aan appam parnaki. Ideally, if you don't have signed NDAs or non-compete agreements or non-use of brand name experience, put the client name. Otherwise, say it very obviously, but do not say it. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You collect the questions. Let me quickly take people through what is known as LinkedIn. Guys and girls, the most important tool which is used today by recruiters, unfortunately, is the property of a company which I don't fancy too much, though it's run by an Indian called Microsoft. That's called LinkedIn. Anybody and everybody first goes to LinkedIn to check out, because a LinkedIn is a resume. It's a LinkedIn resume. LinkedIn resume. LinkedIn can be your expanded resume. You put in LinkedIn whatever your papers you have published, whatever are your technical stuff, not your extracurricular stuff, whatever great things you have done. Also become members in LinkedIn in various user groups. LinkedIn user na 50 group member avam. Say, if you today want to have a career in, let's assume, coastal wall building, or whatever it is. LinkedIn has got groups for us. Become members in that group so that you will be able to understand what are the latest technologies, what are the latest developments, or what are the latest things. Use those things. These groups can also be used for finding out contacts, for making contacts with HR people, for making contacts with companies whom you like. Suppose you've done a fantastic idea and you write to somebody. If you are lucky, somebody talks to you, that could be your ticket to the future. So the point I'm trying to say is that use LinkedIn intelligently. And LinkedIn photo put a decent photograph. Don't put a skydiving photograph or your back photograph or cert photograph. But the point is, those are not required. So put LinkedIn is very important. Each one of you should have a LinkedIn account, each one of you, and increase the connections you have. And put in LinkedIn stuff what you have done. Give the LinkedIn some personality. I'm LinkedIn Microsoft I have nothing to do with them. But unfortunately, it is a tool and people straight away use it. LinkedIn link can be put in your resume. It gives a very, very positive impact. LinkedIn, you can put all the training programs you undertake. You can get people to say that he's a good person or a bad person. So when you, LinkedIn is very important. Please work on it. MBA students or engineering students, anybody and everybody getting into the marketplace, LinkedIn builds connections, and then it is very important. Seriously, and then write it, get it checked. Another Zoom and a lot of other social media sites. I won't say anything bad about them, but nothing is good about them. So LinkedIn profile is extremely important. Write about the papers, write about the work you have done. There are people who have got brilliant jobs, the people who have got funding from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is important. So now back to Parvati for the last couple of questions, and we can call it a day.
Okay, sir. The next question, how to market myself on my CV?
Wow. This is a Yorker from Umran Malik. Aari choichal nalloru Yorker. Okay. First, decide what you want to be in your life. Number one, you decided that you wanted to be let's assume a software engineer focusing on the latest technologies. Everything which every word you say after that should be towards meeting that objective, which means you are doing BSc computer, you might say I'm doing B mechanical or B civil and then getting into it. What is the next step? So what are the skills you have? Write about the latest software skills you have. Write about the latest technologies. Write about what is known as the trainings we have done to show that you are interested in that particular field. I'm not marketing. So what we are doing is we are saying that even though I am not primarily educated to be a software geek, I am working towards that goal, which means you are telling the other person at the other end that I know the following things. And then if you have done any prepare presentation in that area, it should all be focused on that. Software engineer, first you decide what you want to do, and then you work towards that goal. Keep that in mind. Suppose you might say, I want to join Tesla. Good idea. Fantastic idea. Elon Musk in the company to join Janadana. Good. I like the company. So what should you do? What are the kind of skills that company looks for? Or what are the skills they look for? Oh, they look for, what is their key? I want to get into R&D. So what is the kind of R&D they do? Find out from LinkedIn what are the kind of R&D work these people are. Try to connect with some of those fellows who are some of those guys who are there. So and try to do work which will interest them, which will capture their interest, and talk about that work there. So what you're doing is that you are, instead of saying that engineering pass IS or mark ഓരോ സെമസ്റ്ററിലും ഈ 2 സപ്ലൈ വെച്ചാണ് വന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ആർക്ക് ആഗ്രഹിച്ചിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല. ബട്ട് ഇഫ് യു ആർ തിങ്കിങ് ദാറ്റ് യു ഹാവ് ടു ഡു ദിസ് ആൻഡ് യു വാണ്ട് ടു മാർക്കറ്റ് യുവർ സെൽഫ് ടു an Elon Musk or to a Google or to a Microsoft, your entire, don't say a particular company, say this is the kind of companies I want. That is how I'm going to write my resume. That is how I'm going to write my skills. That is the kind of training I do. That is the kind of paper publications I do. That will help you market and get you to that. And also ensure that you connect with the HR of all those companies. For example, Elon Musk in the Indian company, I know they are hiring somewhere in Bangalore. So find out who the HR person is. Find out how you can get connected with them. What are the kind of jobs? Find whether there are any CETNs there. You link up with them. Try to tell them that, can you connect me with your HR? So it is, LinkedIn will help you market yourself. Your resume is a tool which will help LinkedIn market your profile better. So if you are to answer that question in one word, decide what you want to be and work towards it. And don't tell me, Murugesh, it is easy to preach. ഞാൻ ഉള്ള കാര്യം പറയണം. ഒരു ഇലക്ഷൻ ജയിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് നമുക്കറിയാം. എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്തോടാന്ന് എനിക്കും അറിയാം. So the point is, ജയിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള തോറ്റിട്ടുള്ള നമുക്കറിയാം. So the point is, you know what you want to be, then you work towards it. I suppose I've given a generic theoretical answer to it. ഇത് തിയറി അല്ലാതെ വേറെ ഒരു മാർഗ്ഗമില്ല ഇത് ആൻസർ ചെയ്യാൻ. And if there is somebody who really wants to talk to me on that, talk to the volunteers, get a number, catch me sometime after 7:30 or 8 in the evening. We will be able to talk. Parvati, is there a question?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Go ahead. ഒന്നും കേൾക്കാൻ വയ്യ?
So the next question is standard preferred length for a CV.
Okay, one page. And do not use big ugly fonts like those and don't namada resume avada karan noikkanam, world's 10th word resume nokkada. Standard length, it should fit in one page. Any karnula words in the kanak engane parayanayittu, don't make it thick. Let there be fair enough space where one is able to skim it. ഞാൻ US ൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഒരു സമയത്ത് ഒരുത്തിന്റെ റെസ്യൂമെ ഞാൻ എന്ത് ജോലിക്ക് നോക്കിയാലും അവന്റെ റെസ്യൂമെ ഫസ്റ്റിലാണ് കയറി വരുന്നത്. ഞാൻ അവസാനം മോൺസ്റ്ററിനടുത്ത് കംപ്ലൈന്റ് ചെയ്തു. അവനെ പിന്നെ നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ പറ്റിയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവന്റെ റെസ്യൂമയുടെ അവസാനം he has put almost 1.5 pages of keywords of all the software technologies in the world. മോൺസ്റ്ററിൽ പറ്റുന്നത് പറഞ്ഞാൽ if I click a resume, I lose $1. So don't do that. So ensure that the correct length is one page and use the real estate correctly. Design it correctly. I know you don't need to be a graphic designer or an architect to design the space. Ensure that you properly do that. One page is more than enough is my suggestion. Any other questions, Parvati? Hello.
Hello, sir. I think Parvati. Sir, there we have a question. Sir, what to include in a resume who don't have any prior skill, not had done any internships?
Okay. ഞാൻ എന്നെ അടുത്ത് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ച ഒരു ചോദ്യമായിരുന്നു എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് ഇറങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ. Okay, let me answer that question. You should have a decent career objective. ഒരു പ്രയർ സ്കില്ലും ഇല്ല. നമ്മളാരും സ്കില്ലോട് അല്ലല്ലോ ലോകത്ത് ജനിച്ചു വന്നത്. നമ്മൾ എന്താവണമെന്ന് നമുക്കൊരു ആഗ്രഹം ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. Have a decent career objective. Ensure that it's a plain, simple resume. Have one or two interests. If you have not, it is not, you are in the third year, it is not too late to develop an interest. It is not too late to undergo some online training programs. Put those things there. Develop some interest. Let us not say I'm a plain Jane or a plain Murugesh, or don't get into that mode. Develop some interest. And what to include? I'm good looking, I have a communication. No, don't do that. If you think that you don't have anything, seriously, I would say we have a problem. How to work, not a problem which cannot be solved. How to do that? Let us decide what do you want to be. Once you decide what you want to be, then work backwards to it. Join a few clubs. CET club. Join one of those clubs. Work with the team. Develop some skills. Join, do some online training program. Join the local Toastmasters, not Rotary Club, the Toastmasters, some of those people. Develop some skills so that by the end of 1 year, you have something to put there. There is no, there is no person who can't say they don't have anything extra to do. Hey guys, we are in CET. We also study, right? It's not that we only study. Under Tata Steel, wherever we also make steel, at CET, we also study. There are so many things in CET to do. And if you really are saying you don't have any prior skill or nothing you have done, boss, you and me need to have a competition on who's more lazy. It cannot be. Internship, there is time to do that. That is not too late. It is time to do some extra projects. Yes, there's nothing to put, but let us work on it to see what we can put in the limited time available. You have 1 year, right? Most of you are third years, fourth years are in Kanula because all of them have got jobs. So my point is, if you have if you had a year gap, will it? No, it will not be a year gap. Why did you have a year gap? Even I had a small health issue wherein I had to miss out the exam. Total promotion year out. Yeah, I had a health issue, so I had this thing. So not easy. It is not an impediment for a job, other than in companies like Infosys, Tech Mahindra, and some of these companies which say Ella subjective first time pass out. Ella subjective first time pass out. In the millionaires, that is besides the point. But the point is, those kind of companies you may have an issue, but rest of the companies you won't have an issue. If that question is from Adra. Adra, have I answered that question to you? Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Adra.
Okay.
And one last thing, even if someone had a year out due to, yeah, fine, I wasn't concentrating in my studies due to my preoccupations, etc. I've corrected myself, and I hope that I don't repeat the same mistake again. Nobody, the change which has happened in the last 20 years from the time 30 years I've got out of campus is that when we got out of campus, having a supply was considered to be a crime. Today, failing is not a crime. Starting a company and blowing up the investors' money is not a crime, as long as you have learned from the mistake what you have done in the past. Don't repeat the same mistake twice, if not thrice. Any other questions, Parvati? I really enjoy the questions.
Yes, sir. That's one more question.
Yes.
I think the last question. What all should I leave out while preparing the CV?
Okay, let me answer that question once again. No issues. I appreciate the question, and what all you should leave out in a resume. Number one, leave out unnecessary things like your religion, caste, age, height, weight, .. Number one, how many supplies do you have? Did you have? I'll answer that question, man. I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question. Let me finish the serious question. I'll take as the last question. How many supplies did you have? Very good. That's one thing in the personal things. In the academic things, what you should leave out. First, your 9th standard, 8th standard, adakka you should leave out. 10th standard onwards is acceptable. Ideally, I wouldn't want 10th, but some companies want it. Then, what else should you leave out in your resume? Leave out campus. I attended an IEEE seminar conducted by the electrical department in CET. CET electrical department seminar. Those kind of things, don't put it. Somebody asked a question. Suppose if I had attended a paper presentation in IIM and I got a prize, put that. Then don't leave out things like interest, reading books, swimming, skydiving, cooking, dancing. These kind of interests and all, leave out from your resume. Then skills. I know MS Word. I know C++. I know machine drawing. What do we use? Whatever are those? I know CAD. CAD CAD. Or I know DOS. There are people who still write DOS in their resume. Cut and paste on. DOS DOS എന്താന്ന് പോലും ആർക്കും അറിഞ്ഞില്ല. So these make your resume current and relevant. Make your resume relevant and current. And last question, how much supplies do you have? First semester and the second semester I did not have supplies, and the 8th semester. Rest of all semesters I had supplies. I have answered the question. 2-3 എല്ലാ സെമസ്റ്ററിലും ഉണ്ട്. അതൊക്കെ എന്നെ കൈരിപ്പാണ്. സെഷണൽ മാർക്കിൽ നമുക്ക് എല്ലാ പ്രാവശ്യം പണി കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. For whatever the reason it is. So that's why, I mean, having a supply is not an issue. It's not a badge of honor either. It's not a badge of honor either, because I've felt bad, although I don't show it outside. There are times where I felt bad when ISR apply ചെയ്യാൻ പോലും പറ്റില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ I felt bad, but that's okay. That helped me do my MBA or whatever it is, or move on from that. AK, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Don't worry about supplies, man. Every failure is a stepping stone for success. Super supply അടിക്കാതിരുന്നാൽ മതിയായിരുന്നു. അത് കൃത്യമാവാതെ നോക്കിക്കോ. Great. So if there are no other questions, thank you very much and all the very best for to each one of you. I will put my email ID on the chat box. One minute. തെറ്റായിട്ട് എഴുതിയ അവസാനങ്ങൾ വരെ വേണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നിങ്ങൾ എഴുതിയതാണ്. And my mobile number, my WhatsApp works wherever I am. Feel free to reach out if you want any more suggestions, or if you had felt shy asking questions. I am also a CETN, and feel free to. Oh, I have to leave now. Please leave now. It's very intimate. I got rejected from some clubs I wish to do, and I'm not relevant. Okay, Ajmal Ali, you please give me a call. You have a good chance in placements. Don't worry about it. We will see what we can do to do this. Feel free to send me a mail. I will talk to you, Ajmal Ali, and we will see what the best. Don't think that you are a CETN first. You don't need anything to get a job. You'll get a job just because you are a CETN. I very strongly believe it. So don't bother about it. Give me a call, Ajmal Ali. I don't want to answer this in a general call. We will talk about it, and then we'll see what best we can do. Feel free to send me a message and call me Ajmal. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, we will call today. And all the very best to everyone who participated. And please tell everyone else who didn't come. They didn't miss anything here. But ask them to please take time off to take the aptitude test session conducted by my classmate, friend, brother. He doesn't drink. Krishna Kumar, please do that. Please do that. Please attend the session on this thing. Okay, I'm done for the day. Is there any other thing? Can I leave, Neetu?
Yes, sir. That's all clear. So thank you, Murugesh sir, for your time and for clearing the questions. So all the best, guys. And now I invite Surya for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Pavadi. So I hope all your questions are answered. I would like to thank Murugesh sir for spending his precious time with us and for making an effort to enlighten us about the CV preparation. I would also like to thank all those who attended today's session. It was wonderful having you guys today. Thank you for all the moments you shared with us. Time is the most thoughtful gift there is, and thank you for sharing it with us. I sincerely request your presence for our coming sessions as well. We will be having a GD training session tomorrow. The esteemed Suresh Kumar sir will be joining us tomorrow for the session. So see you there at sharp 7 p.m. Stay tuned. Good night.